Now, as I said, I'm coming to you from South Australia tonight, where the state election is just 2 days away. Federal Labor leader Anthony Albanese is in town tonight, and he'll be campaigning with state Labor opposition leader Peter Malinauskas. Now, normally on such a visit, you would be seeing the national leader helping out the local candidate, trying to add a bit of gravitas to the state campaign. But with a federal election campaign to be called in about 3 weeks' time, it's a sure bet that Albo will be hoping to bask in some of the state Labor leader's popularity and perhaps get a few tips from him too. Now, Malinauskas hasn't won yet, and he may not. Polls can be fickle, and he needs to win at least 4 seats from the state Liberal government to get over the line on Saturday. But he has run a slick campaign. His messaging has been razor sharp, and the polls suggest he is the preferred Premier by a large margin, which is an incredible position for an opposition leader to be in. Malinauskas is, in most respects, the sort of Labor leader Albanese is pretending to be. Malinauskas is sporty and fit. He's a family man. He's been a leading light of the ALP's right faction for many, many years. That is, he believes in aspirational politics, in family values, and in sensible economic management. He's not a scary proposition for voters at all. Now, I've spoken to traditional Liberal voters here in the past couple of days who intend to vote Labor on Saturday. Albanese, on the other hand, is a socialist left inner-city hipster factional warrior whose instincts and history are decidedly green left. But he's trying to present himself as some sort of conservative Labor figure, a modern Bob Hawke. The federal Labor leader could learn a lot from his South Australian counterpart. Maybe he will tonight. But faking it is a problem in politics. Voters tend to spot a fake a mile away. Now, strangely enough, the Prime Minister was in Western Australia today and made a joint announcement with the Labor Premier, Mark McGowan, who joked about his state's hard borders.
As I said, welcome to the Prime Minister. I can't help but feel partially responsible for his absence for the last 200 or 300 days.
Look, when you think about the families torn apart, people missing important funerals, others stuck in quarantine or stranded away from their loved ones for extended periods, the hard border routine is not very funny. But even now, Scott Morrison was not prepared to criticise the extreme pandemic measures that the Western Australian government has imposed.
Do you think WA has overreacted to the COVID threat?
No, I don't. I think Western Australia has travelled its own path, and rightly, and the results speak for themselves.
Look, pandemic politics are weird and difficult. We understand that. They're very hard to pick. But it's got to be a mistake, surely, to endorse the scare tactics and onerous and callous rules imposed by some of these premiers, especially the Western Australian Premier. All our political leaders seem to be desperate to pander to the timid, the frightened, the paranoid. People that have actually played a role in frightening over the past 2 years. What they need to do is what New South Wales' Dominic Perrottet has been trying to do, and that is to appeal to the sensible people, to pragmatic people and their pragmatic instincts, and show leadership about plotting a path back to normal.